I've titled this show Leave Room for Space because space makes a difference. What's included and what's left out makes us pause and makes us wonder. And actually, what we leave out fuels our imagination and our thoughts. Inspired by things that are in front of me, things that I'm looking at. So the movement that you see in these drawings are inspired by the thing that the model might be doing. Not in every case, but in a lot of cases.
This one I almost see a figure.
That's quite possible that you might see a figure, but in fact, I might work these after I've drawn the model, and I take a lot of the figure out. So it's possible that there's ghosts and tracings of figures in what remains. I like to work in series. That way you get a sense for how I manipulate the pencil or the paint over a series of 5 or 6 drawings.
These seem to have a different feeling to them.
Well, they're a slightly different medium. They're less of they're more of an opaque medium where you use a thick paint. So you're basically painting the base, and everything you put on top of it obscures everything below it. Whereas in some of the others, you have a lot of transparency that's happening. And again, series of 2. I have more of the series, but I've only included 2 in the series in this case.
Okay, they're very lovely. These have a totally different feel and obviously different medium altogether.
Yeah, sometimes it's inspired by what kind of materials I put out to work with, whether it's a watercolor paper or transparent mediums, opaque acrylics, charcoal. I might just work sometimes in black and white. I might use, in this case, a handmade paper so that the texture of the paper comes much more through the medium.
They have a nice high energy to them.
Yes, well, that's the value of using a model, because the model moves all the time, and it inspires. First of all, you can't capture the movement entirely if you've got a moving model, and it inspires you to keep on adding different things and not worry about what was already there. Sometimes I put a lot of color, sometimes a very light covering of color. In this case, you see quite a bit of color. You see, I just keep adding on top color upon color, and sometimes I scratch things in and put things back in. And sometimes I do it without the model even being there or even looking at the model.
Very intense, lovely. Ah, this is a different feeling altogether.
This is a sort of a more lyrical effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that comes from so much white and not so much strong slashing of pencil and charcoal marks. Sometimes, and often for me anyway, you make something that speaks only to you after it's finished. This piece I titled, I Like to Watch. It was not premeditated, but intuited after I made it. I think of it as a foil to the natural world. It is what we have become, screenheads, the human equivalent of Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Our intoxicating online social communication devices, our phones, the TV. To me, this is what we look like when we remove ourselves from the natural world. I'm fascinated by character and how everyone's character is written on their face. Or maybe I just want to write on their face what I'm interpreting. I feel a great empathy and a great respect for each person's journey through life. We're so full of history, the history of ourselves, our selfish selves, and each one is unique. We are a social, storytelling, story-loving species, and I feel constantly challenged to recreate the person behind the face. I don't care about accuracy, I just care about content, about communicating the content. I think we need to listen to each other's faces much, much more. Layers add complexity to a piece of art, a gradual fueling of your imagination, a mystery. If an artwork is going to appeal to you, it has to keep giving you more and more each time and the longer you look at it. Somewhat like reading a story and slowly discovering the meaning hidden in the story. I don't think you want to know everything immediately. I achieve this through physical layering. You can go deeper into a painting and discover what is behind or inside it, where the artist started, and you may even see evidence of what they included or removed. Much as I love color, I have to say working in black and white is refreshing and freeing. You take the color factor out of the equation and you are just working with essentials, and that can be very liberating. Black and white allows you to concentrate on the shapes, the marks, the composition. Things are less complicated, but at the same time they are more critical because you've distilled the language down to bare essentials. I love a wonderfully rich, deep black shape or a pure white space placed strategically. We say that black is the absence of color, but really black is more than one color. In painting, mix the complementaries and you get black. You can see color bias in black, like a blue black, a brown black. And by the same token, in light, white is all colors mixed as well. It's just a strange thing to consider. To my mind, black and white is not to be taken lightly.